Which fast food restaurant do you think has the most locations worldwide?
McDonald's.
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 Subway.
Yeah, it's Subway. How'd you know?
What?
I just guess there's loads.
In 2011, Subway was opening a new store every 8 hours. With $11 billion in sales, they were printing money. Fast forward a decade. Stores closing by the thousands, scandals everywhere, and the founders running for the exit. We're breaking down how the world's largest restaurant chain went pear-shaped. When was the last time you ate at Subway? Back in 1965, when bell-bottoms were cool and people thought smoking was healthy, a 17-year-old kid named Fred DeLuca borrowed $1,000 from family friend Peter Buck with dreams of paying for medical school. Instead, he accidentally revolutionized lunch. While McDonald's was pushing greasy burgers and fries that could clog arteries, Fred was slinging fresh meat and vegetables on bread. The concept was so revolutionary that Fred quickly forgot about his stethoscope dreams and went all in on sandwiches. By their second year, they had 16 locations. The fresh ingredient approach wasn't just different, it was magnetic. Customers were tired of the same old greasy options, and Subway offered something that felt healthier, fresher, and more customizable. Fred had stumbled onto a gold mine, but that $1,000 investment was just the appetizer. Wait until you hear how they turned this single shop into a global phenomenon.
Both are beaten out by the world's most popular sandwich maker, Subway.
Here's where Fred and Peter became absolute criminal masterminds, legally of course. In the mid-70s, they made a decision that would reshape the entire franchise industry. While McDonald's was charging potential franchisees a cool $1 million just to get started, Subway said, "Hold our sandwich," and offered franchise opportunities for just $150,000. This wasn't just smart business, it was genius-level market disruption. Think about it. Suddenly, middle-class entrepreneurs, immigrants with big dreams, and anyone with decent credit could afford a slice of the American dream. McDonald's was like buying a Lamborghini, exclusive and expensive. Subway was like buying a reliable Honda that could still get you where you wanted to go, without breaking the bank. The results were explosive. By 1981, they had exploded to 2,000 stores. By 1990, they hit 5,000. They were spreading fast, popping up in strip malls, gas stations, truck stops, anywhere you could fit a counter and some sandwich-making equipment. The beauty of this strategy was pure evil genius. They had essentially democratized franchising while building their empire entirely on other people's money and dreams. But this accessibility strategy would later become their Achilles heel in ways they never saw coming. Welcome to the 1980s and 90s. This was the era when fat-free cookies were marketed as health snacks and pasta was recommended as the foundation of every meal. While other fast food chains were deep-frying everything, Subway positioned themselves as the healthy alternative with their fresh vegetables, lean meats, and bread. Lots and lots of bread. Americans ate it up, literally and figuratively. Subway became the poster child for fast food that won't kill you, riding the health consciousness wave like a pro surfer on the perfect storm. Their marketing was brilliant. Clean stores, fresh ingredients visible behind glass, and the theater of watching your sandwich being assembled right in front of you. Meanwhile, McDonald's was still trying to convince people that a Big Mac was a balanced meal because it had lettuce and a pickle. The timing was perfect. Americans were becoming more health conscious but still wanted the convenience of fast food. Subway offered the perfect compromise. You could feel good about your lunch choice while still eating quickly and cheaply. They weren't just selling sandwiches, they were selling peace of mind and a healthy lifestyle wrapped in a footlong. But Subway's health halo was about to get a spokesperson that would take their wholesome image to unprecedented heights, and then crash it in the most spectacular way possible. Enter Jared Fogle in the year 2000, a college student who became Subway's golden goose by losing 245 pounds, eating exclusively Subway sandwiches. This wasn't just good marketing, this was marketing gold wrapped in a success story bow, and delivered by the marketing gods themselves. Jared's story was the American dream meets weight loss miracle, and Subway milked it for everything it was worth. For 15 years, Jared was the living, breathing, walking proof that Subway could literally transform your life. The company built their entire brand identity around this guy, putting him in commercials, sending him on speaking tours, and making him more recognizable than most Hollywood A-listers. Parents pointed to Jared when encouraging kids to make healthier choices. Dieter saw him as inspiration. Subway saw him as a money-printing machine. The Jared campaign was so successful it became a cultural phenomenon. Everyone knew the story. Fat guy eats Subway, becomes thin guy, lives happily ever after. It was simple, inspiring, and incredibly effective at driving sales through the roof. Then 2015 happened like a meteor hitting Earth.
This morning, we are hearing former Subway spokesman Jared Fogle, in his own words, talking about how he preyed on children. Fogle was secretly recorded by a woman who had befriended him, and she became an FBI informant.
Jared was arrested for child pornography charges, and suddenly, Subway's wholesome family spokesman became their biggest nightmare. It wasn't just bad publicity, and it was reputation-destroying, brand-tarnishing, legacy-killing bad news. It was like finding out your favorite superhero was actually the villain all along. Except this wasn't fiction, and the damage to their family-friendly image was immediate and devastating. Speaking of devastating, wait until you hear about the promotion that seemed like pure genius but was actually slow-acting poison for their entire franchise system. In 2008, a Miami franchisee tried an experiment that would accidentally create one of the most successful and ultimately destructive promotions in fast food history.
Turns out fewer people are opting to eat fresh these days. The restaurant chain Subway continues to see declining sales.
The $5 footlong wasn't just a promotion, it was a cultural earthquake. The jingle was catchier than the flu, the price point was irresistible, and the results were immediate and intoxicating. Same-store sales didn't just increase, they exploded by 20 to 25% across markets. In just 1 year, this single promotion generated an additional $3.8 billion in sales. To put that in perspective, that's literally an entire Domino's pizza worth of extra business, generated by 5 words and a catchy tune. The promotion was so successful that competitors started having nightmares about footlong sandwiches. But here's the dark side of this seemingly brilliant success. The $5 footlong was like giving customers financial crack cocaine. It was a quick hit that felt amazing in the moment, but created a devastating long-term addiction. The promotion trained an entire generation of customers to expect premium sandwiches at bargain basement prices. Customers stopped seeing Subway as a quality, fast casual option and started seeing it as the place to get cheap calories when you were broke. The brand equity that they had spent decades building suddenly got repriced to discount levels. The promotion was so addictive, both for customers who loved the deal and corporate executives who loved the sales numbers, that Subway couldn't stop using it, even when inflation made those $5 footlongs financial suicide for franchisees. This pricing addiction would haunt them for years to come, but their problems were just getting started. The growth strategy that made them the world's largest restaurant chain was about to cannibalize itself. Remember that new store every 8 hours stat from the beginning? Well, that relentless expansion was about to bite them. By 2012, Subway had grown so aggressively that their stores weren't competing with McDonald's or Burger King anymore. They were competing with each other in brutal franchise-on-franchise combat. It was like a family reunion where everyone starts fighting over the last piece of pie, except the pie was customer dollars and the family members were franchise owners who had invested their life savings. When you have so many locations that customers can literally see one Subway from the window of another Subway, you've got a cannibalization problem that makes piranha-feeding frenzies look civilized. Same-store sales started declining for the first time in company history, but here's the absolutely insane part. Subway's response was to open 800 more stores that year. It's like seeing your house on fire and deciding the best solution is to pour gasoline on it while calling for more gasoline. The corporate office was so addicted to growth that they couldn't see the forest for the trees, or in this case, couldn't see the franchise rebellion for the royalty checks. But the real tragedy was about to unfold, and it involved the one person who could have steered this massive ship away from the iceberg.
In the short term, I could see definitely we'll have 50,000 stores in about 4 or 5 years from now.
In 2013, founder Fred DeLuca, the driving force, the visionary, the absolute dictator behind everything Subway had become, was diagnosed with leukemia. This wasn't just bad news for Fred personally, it was catastrophic for a company that had been run like Fred's personal kingdom for nearly 50 years. Unlike modern corporations with robust management structures, succession plans, and distributed decision-making, Subway was essentially Fred DeLuca and friends. When Fred stepped back to fight for his life, the company discovered they had built a Ferrari with only one person who knew how to drive it. And now that person was in the hospital. Decision-making slowed to a crawl. Problems that Fred would have solved with a single phone call now required committees, meetings, consultants, and bureaucratic nightmares. The company that had thrived on quick decisions and aggressive moves suddenly couldn't get out of its own way. It was like watching a championship sports team try to play without their star quarterback, head coach, and team owner, all at the same time. Meanwhile, the competition wasn't taking a timeout to let Subway figure things out. In fact, they were sharpening their knives and preparing to carve up Subway's market share like a Thanksgiving turkey. While Subway was dealing with internal chaos and leadership vacuum, the fast casual revolution was heating up. Chipotle burst onto the scene with their Food with Integrity message, making everything fresh in-store and turning burrito assembly into dinner theater. Jersey Mike's attacked from the premium end, offering higher quality ingredients and charging customers who were willing to pay more for better food. Even McDonald's, the same McDonald's that Subway had dethroned as the world's largest restaurant chain, joined the health food party with grilled chicken options, salad wraps, and premium ingredients. The fast food landscape was evolving rapidly, and Subway was standing still like a deer in headlights. Suddenly, Subway found themselves in the worst possible competitive position, getting squeezed from both ends like a tube of toothpaste. Value seekers abandoned them for Taco Bell's dollar menu and McDonald's value deals, while quality seekers fled to Chipotle, Jersey Mike's, and other fast casual competitors that offered fresher ingredients and better experiences. The numbers told the brutal story. A typical Subway was doing $425,000 in annual sales, while Jersey Mike's locations were absolutely crushing them with nearly $1 million per store. The market was screaming exactly what they wanted: better quality, fresher ingredients, more authentic experiences. But Subway's leadership was too distracted by internal problems to listen. The competition was fierce, but nothing could have prepared them for the internal war that was about to tear the company apart from the inside. Here's a number that should make any potential franchise owner run. Subway franchisees were 15 times more likely to end up in a lawsuit with corporate headquarters than McDonald's franchisees. We're talking 29 lawsuits per 10,000 franchisees versus McDonald's measly 1.4. That's not just bad business relationships, that's a system more toxic than a reality TV show reunion special. The problem wasn't just bad luck or difficult personalities, it was systematic exploitation built into the business model. Subway charged franchisees a crushing 12.5% in royalties and fees, while McDonald's charged around 4 to 5%. They systematically targeted recent immigrants who often didn't fully understand the contracts they were signing or the American legal system they were entering. Congressional reports in the 1990s literally called Subway the poster child for predatory franchising practices, but the growth addiction was too strong to stop. They had created a machine designed to extract maximum value from franchisees while providing minimal support, training, or protection from cannibalization. By 2017, franchisees were fleeing faster than passengers on the Titanic. A record 359 stores closed that year alone, and the exodus was just beginning. Store owners who had invested their life savings, their dreams, and their futures were walking away from their investments rather than continue losing money in a broken system.
We have, like at Subway, we got 200,000 requests last year for franchise information.
The empire that Fred built was crumbling from within, and the financial vultures were already circling overhead. After nearly 60 years of family ownership, blood, sweat, tears, and billions in profits, the DeLuca and Buck families finally threw in the towel in 2023. They put Subway up for sale, hoping to get $10 billion. Because even when you're selling a struggling empire, you might as well aim high and see who bites. Private equity firm Rourke Capital swooped in with $9 billion, making it one of the largest restaurant acquisitions in business history. These weren't sentimental family owners. These were cold, calculating business professionals who specialized in turning around struggling franchise systems. Rourke's first move was to clean house. They fired existing management, brought in their own experienced turnaround specialists, and started making the hard decisions that the family owners had been avoiding for years. They inherited 37,000 locations worldwide. Still a massive foundation, but one that needed serious structural repair, relationship rebuilding, and strategic repositioning. The question now isn't whether Subway can survive. With that many locations and that much brand recognition, survival is almost guaranteed. The real question is whether they can learn from decades of mistakes and rebuild what they systematically destroyed. Subway's rise and fall reads like a business school case study. They mastered the art of growth hacking before it had a name, democratized franchising for the masses, and built the world's largest restaurant chain through pure ambition and aggressive expansion. But their incredible success contained the seeds of their own destruction. Growth at any cost that ignored sustainability, franchise exploitation that prioritized corporate profits over partner success, dangerous over-reliance on individual leadership instead of building systems, and pricing strategies that systematically devalued their own product in customers' minds. Subway proved you can win every single battle and still lose the entire war. They conquered the world but completely forgot to take care of the kingdom they had built. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the biggest, most actionable lesson you're taking from Subway's incredible rise and spectacular fall? And if you want more business breakdowns that'll make you completely rethink everything you thought you knew about success, failure, and entrepreneurship, smash that subscribe button like your financial future depends on it. Because honestly, these lessons just might be the difference between building something that lasts and becoming another cautionary tale.